Hello, my lovelies. I hope you're all well. I'm Missy, and welcome to my channel. This is the series where I chat about my loves, dislikes, and personal critiques of webcomics. Just a disclaimer, these are just my personal opinions and not to be taken as comic lore. I want to encourage creators in any way possible and promote small content creators with the hopes of getting their voices and stories heard. This video will contain spoilers. Please read the linked comic before proceeding to get the most enjoyment. This is an ongoing story, so by the time of release, there are likely new chapters and developments not discussed in this video. Right, on to today's comic. E is for Evil, a comic set within the realm of fantasy with a slice of sci-fi thrown in. For the drawing today, I'm showcasing two of the main characters, Emma and Ruby, with the young Ruby facing down a personal demon. I was very inspired by the green and purple colour palette so much that I had to give it a go. We open up on two researchers, Emma and her friend Vinny, chasing a storm that's formed a tornado. So I already think they're nuts. They're extremely excited for this phenomenon dubbed the Spiraling Tempest, which seems like an apt name for a giant tornado of death. It doesn't take long for things to go south. Emma, coming across as knowledgeable, confident, and completely mad, volunteers to head outside in the height of the storm in order to fix some of their jammed equipment. Neither seem appropriately concerned in this situation until Vinny spots an abnormality, causing him to run outside and witness Emma being struck by purple lightning. So, she's dead, right? Right? Wrong. Emma decided to hit her goth phase pretty suddenly, but hey, it looks cool. Oh no. I don't think that's Emma anymore, my man. Okay, so now this Emma can shoot energy beams and, by the looks of it, also take on the host's memories. Means that this entity can, theoretically, be up to date with the current state of the world. Alright, prologue roundup. Two naive researchers went to investigate a storm. One ends up possessed by some old being and the other ends up 6 feet under, and, by the looks of it, this creature has two goals. 1. Strengthen their vessel so it can contain and utilise its own power without breaking. And 2. Find someone called Sekt and kill them. Within the opening page, we were introduced to a total of 3 characters, Vinny, Emma, and entity that possesses Emma. And as quickly as they came, Vinny is deceased and Emma is out of the picture for the foreseeable future. Okay, fair enough. A fast-paced intro. It gets the ball rolling in what will likely be the meat of the story. At the moment, I won't deny that I'm a bit confused with everything that just happened, but I feel that's natural right at the beginning of a story. After all, questions lead to hooked readers, and I'm now one of them. We're whisked off to the location of Doverick City and introduced to conjoined twins, Alex and Abby, alongside their guardian, Fink. Another very quick introduction, but it's established that they have a plan. For what? Absolutely no clue, but they have one. We also have a name drop, Jehoshaphat, and something about a job, in which none of them seem keen to take. Another character switch later, and we're officially at the Inventors Fair, where we're introduced to yet another new character, Ruby, being pushed to provide her permit for her already pitched tent. Seems this fantasy story is going to keep the current theme of elf racism alive. And there's that name again, Jehoshaphat. Wonder if this guy's going to come up later. Ruby? Hey, Ruby. I don't think sleeping on the job is the best look. Though it looks like you're having a pretty wacky dream there. Hey, that person looks familiar. Oh fuck. Don't you just hate it when the evil entity you were just dreaming about shows up right in front of you? And also hints at knowing what's in your head. That could make for some awkward scenarios. Jumping back to Alex and Abby with a blushing orc and the mention of their multiracial female pleasure device, which has clearly piqued some curiosity. Genuinely trying to figure out how this works. Like, are there multiple attachments? I decipher much from the pixel hue. Anyway, getting distracted, we know they're not here to share this marvellous science with the world. Remember, they have a plan. We have a lot of characters on the roll now. I've so far counted 5, and haven't had a whole lot of time to get to know them yet. This is also just the prologue still, which, as someone who has a comic with a really long prologue, it's not really my place to criticise, but something I feel like I learned in doing that, much later, is that it makes it a bit harder to invest in the main story, as the plot isn't actually on the tracks yet. However, I'm really enjoying what's looking to be an incredibly broad cast of people from a variety of backgrounds and values. It gives a very D&D party vibe, where they're all kind of smooshed together, and I'm hoping it will lead to some chaotic interactions in the future. Fink establishes himself as a lover of chaos, and throws down a volley of bombs to blow the fair sky high as a distraction. Rather excessive, seeing as people do get visibly injured, and that could have also included his companions. Emma and Ruby blast him out of the sky, and then a far more professional thief gets the machine the twins were looking for first. You snooze, you lose. Sorry guys. Just a note, I really liked the artwork of the getaway scene. It gave me Lupin vibes, and I'm so here for that. I feel like the action scenes are where this comic really shines, and with this scene in particular, there's a lot of movement and mayhem with explosions left, right and centre. I feel like this helps make the fast pacing more natural. It heavily contrasts the scenes where we have heavy exposition, but not a whole lot of time to really process what that means for the character before we're rushed on to the next scene. Which leads me on to Ruby's flashback. Moving on quickly from the fair incident, we get to know a little bit more about Ruby, taking a little dive into her backstory. After all, what is a main character without some kind of trauma? It seems that Ruby knows a little about this Sekt person that Emma is looking for, and when I say little, I mean really little. She just gets a glimpse of a creature, which we can assume is maybe Sekt. An incident when she was little caused her to rush after her friend in the hopes of a heroic rescue, which was in direct opposition to her commander's orders. A few things established here, such as these little buggers called murmurs, and they can get in your head and overwhelm your senses, which I will draw back to later. Rightfully, Emma is curious as to how Ruby got out of this situation. I'll be honest, so am I, but Ruby deflects. I'd argue that Ruby has come across as quite a world-weary and jaded character in contrast to her younger self, who seemed to be ruled by emotion and willing to potentially sacrifice herself for a friend. Yet, I predict that Ruby might have made a less than great deal with this creature in order to save herself. I'm really hoping we get an answer to that later, as based on Emma's current power scaling, I can't see there being any way in hell Ruby got away without some kind of compromise being made. Okay, this is where I start to have a problem. Specifically with Emma. Emma is understandably pissed that she's not getting the answers she's wanted, pushing herself into Ruby's mind and causing her to freak out. The feeling seemingly similar to that of the murmurs. Ruby threatens Emma, who displays another power, forcing Ruby to sit down against her will. Just gonna move away from where we are in the story at the moment. Emma perplexes me. Now, I know she's an entity within a human body. I'm willing to accept that this likely limits her capabilities. It's been established that she can perform some pretty amazing feats, one most powerful ability, in my opinion, being the one just revealed. Her mind control, which leads to a personal grievance with her character. Why does she just accept Ruby's deal? Emma clearly wants to get to Sekt as quickly as possible. She even threatens Ruby, saying, "You can either do this willingly or not." So we know there is absolutely no reason at all she has to agree to helping Ruby. And heck, she can live up to her word. We just saw her display of authority. She could have just forced her, but she doesn't, which completely undermines the threat she just made. I can maybe provide a couple of reasons she's a bit more agreeable. One, she isn't as powerful as she claims to be, and knows in herself she's not ready. This is slightly reinforced by an earlier scene where she makes a comment about her vessel not being strong enough. Two, she's not as cold as she plays, but I am far less inclined to agree with this one, seeing as our first introduction of her was just outright murder. Just reiterating, she threatened Ruby. She displayed a cold demeanour, is cutthroat, and willing to use her power whenever she can fulfill her own necessities. Why is she now agreeing to help Ruby with what must be a menial task to this godlike being? I feel like it seems very counterproductive and hypocritical. What is her actual goal? Allies? Growing power? Defeating Sekt? All three? None. This isn't necessarily a negative. It could be a really interesting way to present an anti-hero character. A kind of greater good, ends justify the means type of person. But again, with so much going on so quickly, I'm finding it hard to tell. So far, we have been introduced to a total of 6 characters within a very short span of time, with 2 name drops to take for future reference. In that time, we have seen 1 character killed, another suppressed, another arrested, established one with near godlike powers, and shown an origin backstory, all in the space of a chapter and a half. And this isn't including the 3 new characters we go on to meet in chapter 2. As of this current moment, my brain is incredibly full. I'm kind of losing sight of the established, overarching plot that came from the opening chapter, which in my head was hunting down Sekt. Which, now, I'm not even sure is the main plot. I assumed, perhaps incorrectly, that the main character would be Emma, but I'm pretty sure the character currently with the most screen time has been Ruby. To be honest, the longer I read, I feel like I approach the story in completely the wrong way. With such a large cast, and a very vibrant one, I don't think this story so much has a main character, at least not a singular, but rather we're going to follow each character throughout the story. Just a little editing note here, I'm just going to add that hi, hello, it's been a while, and if you've gotten this far through the video, thank you so much for taking the time to come back and watch this video, because it took way too long to get it going. A lot of life stuff happened, and that ended up putting a lot of different stuff on pause. So hi, I hope you're doing well. I am now considerably far behind in this comic, so I'm just going to start this conclusion with I am really behind. I am very likely out to date, so the takeaways that I have in my original script are probably not going to be anywhere near what they would be if I was to have written this later. Yeah. A personal takeaway, I feel like this story could have maybe started where chapter 2 began, in the meeting room and seeing all the characters there for the first time, and then lacing their backstories into the running plot, like how they came to meet in one place, as they start to trust each other and get more comfortable with sharing their backstories. Though, maybe that would have slowed the pacing down too much. Multiple flashbacks from multiple different characters can really bog down a script. Overall, I feel like there is a really fun story unraveling. It's got massive fantasy elements, mystery, sci-fi, action, all bundled into one, and my personal favourite is the fact that there are gonna be so many characters I can explore. I really enjoy the personalities so far. even with my gripes. Ruby is fun, savvy, and clearly knows how to talk her way out of a sour situation. We have Emma, who is extremely calculating and cold, and has an incredible amount of power, enough to just, raise a city just for fun. The twins, whose complete and utter accidental chaos I am so excited to see in the future, especially now with everyone being in one place. And these three new characters, I have yet to be fully acquainted with, but I am excited to see where they go too. I would highly recommend this story for anyone that indulges in the pure chaos and dynamics that are brought in through a D&D style cast of characters, as well as the story flow of one. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please let me know down in the comments below what you think, and head to the description to go and check out E is for Evil to support the creator. A big thank you for Jadix Fang for letting me do a video on his comic. It was a lot of fun to explore, and also another very, very, very big thank you for your patience. I am so sorry it's taken so long. If you'd like to support what I do, maybe consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more. And if you'd like to support me further, why not hit up my Ko-Fi with the link below. Thank you so much again for watching. It really means a lot. I hope to catch you next time. See you later!